I won't go too long, but I want to actually riff a little bit on what Patrick says as we think about our why. I will say I get to speak sometimes, and rarely in the talk before I get to talk does someone say, money is not the issue. So it's pretty special to be here. We'll see where things go. No, seriously. In my role with the Parish Collective, which is a network of about 2,000 churches all across North America that are deeply invested in trying to be the church in their local neighborhood, in the everyday stuff of life, there is an amazing movement happening. But within that movement, if we would go around to every table and we would just have like a sentence or a tweet of what, if we all like closed the door and said, what is the church? Even in this room, even with, primarily, say, UCC folks or mainline folks, it's pretty confusing, isn't it? I want to take just a second to say the why of the church in our day just might be up for grabs, as it relates to how people generally understand it. So I want to solve that in about 5 minutes. Not really, but I'm going to take a shot. 7 minutes, maybe. I'm not going to do that, but what I do want to work us through, riffing off of what Patrick says, is to look at the why, the how, and the what, maybe with a little bit of a new lens. And my hope, my prayer, is that it could be a way that we can help kind of process this weekend together. There's a book, and frankly, another good TED Talk. Has anybody ever read the book, Start With Why by Simon Sinek? Anybody read that? Have you read that? Did I tell you about that? It's a good one for all of us. Simon Sinek is like a leadership consultant kind of a guy. And he did you can see the TED Talk, that's a bit cheaper. It's a good TED Talk. And he basically said something pretty simple. It was clarified in like a more beautiful way here. But that most organizations, most leaders tell you what they do. But people don't functionally care what you do. They actually don't. They care why you do it. Or for him, he's talking about like businesses. People don't buy what you have to sell. They buy why you're making it. So what he says is that we have to kind of put first things first. This is just what Patrick is saying. We got to put the why in the middle. And from that why, then we can begin to think about the how. And then we can begin to think about the what. Yeah? You tracking with this? Okay. Now, let's see if we can't play with the church for just a second. Now, I should say before I begin, I got a Master of Divinity at a school called the Seattle School of Theology and Psychology, and I'm telling you that because I'm still paying off student loans. And I will be for a long time. Unless something miraculous happens here. You never know. And so I'm going to use, and a lot of us are leading churches, so because I'm still paying off student debt, to answer the question of the why, how, what, the church, I'm going to use some big words. Because it's all I got. And I love to use them. There's lots of syllables. You'll know what they all are, but I really want to use them because they're the only time I can. And that student loan every month is just horrendous. This is like a passive-aggressive way of, anyway. Okay, so what is the why of the church? I should say real quick, this is a line that I think is important. My friend Alan Roxborough, who's up in Vancouver, BC, often says this. He says that, and this is particularly dangerous for us. This is why I'm so grateful for how Patrick is beginning, especially as we think about our church buildings and how we can be using it for ministry. We're obviously probably thinking about the how and the what. Nothing would have us think about the why, because the how and the what are so complex, and there's all these thorny issues, and draining resources, and all of that. But what my friend Al says is that we generally within the church, this is not a UCC thing, this is all across, you could say, Christendom, we're always asking church questions. Namely, how do I grow my church? How do I save my church? How do I grow a healthy church? And these are not bad questions. What Al says is, but we have to stop asking them, at least for a while, because we need to start with God questions. Which namely is, what is God up to out ahead of us? That gets to the why. So the big word there, I would propose to you for the why for our time together, I can't spell these, by the way, I didn't learn that, is eschatology. You can say it with me, there you go. Can't read that, I can't spell it. Eschatology, what is eschatology? Well, different people may say different things, but for my purposes here, I'm saying, what is the dream of God? Many of us would say the renewing and the restoring of everything. Each of us, every relationship, every neighborhood, every system, healing of every injustice, that what God is up to is renewing and restoring every molecule in the cosmos. That's our why. You with me? Because I'm going to need you to be, because if this doesn't land, the rest begins to go a little bit off. Okay, well, if you'll go with me that God renewing and restoring could be our why, then what might be the how? I would like to propose, and actually, the psalm that Patrick said goes to this a bit. I can't spell this word either. It's pneumology. Pneumatology. Y'all know what pneumatology is? What is pneumatology?
It's the aspect of the spirit.
Yes.
The spirit.
Yes. So our how do we go about engaging, discerning God's dream? I would propose that the only option we truly have is to follow the Spirit, already at work, out ahead of us. Why is this so important? Because especially in rooms like this, when we start to think that we know what God's dream is, we then try and make it happen and often sacrifice relational fidelity at the expense of what we think needs to happen. Does that make sense? So in every moment, our how needs to be, God, what are you doing? How do I participate in what you are doing? Not my kingdom, but thy will. If the Lord doesn't build the house, it's in vain. Is this making sense? Well then, I would propose that the what could be ecclesiology, or the church. Now, here, none of this really makes sense if it's not located in time and place, if it's not embodied. So this brings us to how important our contexts are, because it's not just God's dream as an abstract idea. Think about actually the neighborhood either that you live in or where your ministry is. It's one thing to think of God renewing and restoring everything, but you think of your neighborhood and you ask the question, what is God's dream for this place? All of a sudden the abstract becomes concrete quickly. As we think about how we follow the Spirit, while we're doing that in our everyday lives, in our actual places, the abstract becomes quite concrete. Basically, what I'm talking about here is this is not necessarily a new way of thinking about the church. This is just a time-honored dare for us. It's a dare towards faithful presence where we are. Now, what does all this have to do about the church buildings? Well, that's why I'm here, because we all know, not just in the UCC, there is real estate and gifts and assets which need desperately to get back to what Patrick was saying about the why. And we need to ask hard, deep questions about what is God's dream right where we are? How do we participate? And then for the stuff we have, the gifts we have, how do we play with that? How do we invest in that? How do we innovate with that? That's a much bigger story than figuring out how we either pay our mortgage or add on a parsonage, and these are good things. I don't mean to denigrate any of that stuff, but we need to keep the main thing the main thing. And friends, I'll close on this and then I'll pray and we'll eat. But Patrick said earlier, like, kind of for such a time as this, like the cultural, spiritual, economic, just kind of craziness that we're in right now, it just feels like to me we need the church to be the church more than ever. Right? That people are crying out for God's dream to be made real in their neighborhoods. And we have to get about that. And yeah, we're going to have to think about some new things to do and try some new things and iterate and experiment. But who else but the church has the capacity to knit together the economic, the spiritual, the political, and all of life? That's what we get to do. We're not just the religious people. We get to tease out and be like knit together all the good stuff in our neighborhoods, and then we get to host it. And frankly, that's so needed today. In so many ways, it's not just our buildings. We're already present in our neighborhoods, but we just haven't been knit together. So I think now is our time. So may that be our prayer. I'll pray now, but may that be our prayer for the weekend. It's such a gift to be with you. Let's pray for the meeting. God, we just want to pause for a second and say thank you. We want to say thank you for this place. We want to say thank you for the gift it is to be here. We want to say thank you that we trust you are at work out ahead of us, even if it doesn't feel like it all the time. And for this weekend, we just want to submit ourselves, our imaginations, our hopes, our dreams, and say, what is it that you want to do with us and our stuff and our buildings and our congregations and our systems? Give us new ideas, fresh thoughts. Help us encourage one another. And ultimately, help us rest in the reality that this is all a gift. That you actually are renewing and restoring everything. And we get to participate in that as a gift, not as another incredible burden. So thanks for the gift.